Imagine the cold bite of eternity clamping down on your soul, a sarcophagus of unyielding metal sealing you away from the stars you once conquered. But what if the tomb stirs, and the awakening isn't salvation? It's a nightmare where your very essence becomes a plaything for ancient, soulless machines. In the grim darkness of the 41st millennium, where the Necrons rise from their slumber, life, or what passes for it, becomes an endless cycle of horror, resurrection, and obliteration. I awaken to darkness absolute, not the comforting void of sleep, but a suffocating blackness that presses against my eyelids like the weight of a collapsed star. My name, what was my name? It slips away, a fleeting whisper in the gale of forgotten eons. I am Zarek, or was I? No, that can't be right. Zarek was the silent king, the architect of our doom and our undying curse. I am lesser, a fragment of that grand tragedy, entombed in the bowels of a tomb world whose name echoes dimly. Gidrim, or perhaps Soteka's crown jewel. The air. No, there's no air here. Only the sterile hum of stasis fields flickering to life, their emerald glow seeping through cracks in my sarcophagus like poisonous veins. My body, or what remains of it, stirs with mechanical precision. Joints that were once flesh now grind with the precision of adamantium gears, lubricated by nanites that swarm through my form like hungry scarabs. I feel them, those insidious little machines, burrowing into the remnants of my organic past, stripping away the last vestiges of pain that reminded me I was alive. Pain? What a quaint memory. In the biotransference, we traded our frail bodies for immortality. But at what cost? The tan promised godhood, but delivered only hollow shells, echoes of souls trapped in necrodermis prisons. A voice, not mine, resonates in my skull, a choral hiss of binary code and ancient glyphs. Awakening protocol initiated. Farron Imitek commands. Rise, Overlord Vargard Oberon, and reclaim the stars. Vargard Oberon? Yes, that rings true. I am he, loyal blade to the Stormlord, guardian of the Sotek dynasty. But as the sarcophagus lid hisses open, releasing a puff of cryonic mist that tastes of ozone and decay, I wonder, am I truly awakening, or merely rebooting like some servitor drone? The chamber materializes around me, a vast crypt of black stone etched with hieroglyphs that pulse with faint green light. Rows upon rows of similar sarcophagi stretch into infinity, each housing a Necron lord or warrior, their forms suspended in timeless vigil. Some stir as I do, limbs twitching with the awkwardness of reanimation, as if remembering how to move after 60 million years of slumber. The air, artificial now, pumped through vents by canoptek constructs, carries the faint scent of ionized particles, a sterile reminder that life here is but a simulation. I step forth, my feet clanging against the obsidian floor, each impact sending vibrations through the tomb complex. My vision sharpens, augmented by ocular implants that pierce the gloom, revealing the scurrying forms of canoptek scarabs repairing microfractures in the walls. They chitter in machine code, a symphony of efficiency that masks the underlying dread. For an awakening, we do not greet the dawn with hope. We confront the reality of our curse. The younger races, those fleshy interlopers who dare tread our worlds, call us soulless machines, but they know nothing of the torment. We remember, fragments of our past lives haunt us. The warmth of a sun on skin, the thrill of battle with blade in hand, the ecstasy of victory unmarred by eternal regret. But regret is my constant companion now. As I traverse the awakening halls, phalanxes of Necron warriors activate in unison, their Gauss flares humming to life. Blank-eyed, they march without question, their minds eroded to mere obedience protocols. I envy them their simplicity. For lords like me, the biotransference left echoes of personality, shards of ego that fester like unhealed wounds. Imitek, my master, embodies this perfectly, his tactical genius sharpened by undying hatred, yet tainted by the void where his soul once resided. A tremor shakes the tomb, not from seismic activity, but from the surface world's intrusion. Alarms blare in my neural matrix, biosigns detected, Imperial forces breaching outer perimeters. The humans, those zealous fools of the Corpse Emperor, come to plunder what they deem Zeno's heresy. Little do they know, their incursion accelerates our awakening, stirring the cryptex from their arcane slumber to unleash horrors undreamt. I interface with the tomb's command nexus, a crystalline obelisk that projects holographic data streams into my consciousness. Worlds conquered in antiquity flicker before me. The fall of the old ones, the shattering of the Tan, the long sleep to escape the enslaver plague. But now, the galaxy teems with lesser beings, the barbaric orcs, the insidious Eldar, the hive-minded Tyranids, all vying for scraps while we, the true inheritors, rise once more. Yet, as I issue commands to deploy Lichguard cohorts, a whisper intrudes, not from a nexus but from within. Why fight? Why endure? It's the ghost of my former self, the Necronter noble who sought immortality to escape a dying body riddled with radiation sickness. We were a short-lived race, cursed by our son's malice, and in our desperation, we forged pacts with star gods. The Tan devoured our souls, leaving us as these abominations. The first clash echoes through the tunnels, bolter fire ricocheting off necrodermis, the sizzle of Gauss beams flaying flesh from bone. I lead the counter-assault, my war scythe humming with quantum energy, slicing through a space marine's power armor as if it were parchment. His blood, hot, organic, splashes across my frame, a stark contrast to my cold eternity. He gasps his last, invoking his false god, and I feel nothing. No triumph, no pity, only the mechanical satisfaction of protocol fulfilled. But deeper in the tomb, as the awakening spreads, anomalies emerge. Some warriors glitch, their reanimation matrices corrupted by eons of cosmic radiation. They twitch erratically, Gauss flares discharging into allies, their hollow skulls emitting screams that no machine should produce. Flayed ones, they are called, those afflicted by the curse of Landagore, the Destroyer. They hunger for flesh to drape over their forms, a mad attempt to reclaim what was lost. I encounter one such wretch in a side chamber, its claws scraping against the walls, leaving gouges that spark with residual energy. It turns to me, optics flickering red with malware insanity. Skin needs skin. It rasps in a voice distorted by faulty vocoders. I dispatch it with a precise strike, but not before its plea echoes in my core. A reminder that even in undeath, madness lurks. The Imperials press on, their inquisitor barking orders through voxcasters, chanting litanies of hate. Purge the Xenos, for the Emperor. How quaint, their faith in a rotting corpse on a throne. If only they knew the truth of their own entombment, slaves to a dying empire, much like we were to our frail bodies. As I delve deeper into the awakening protocols, activating the monoliths and annihilation barges, a greater horror unfolds. The tomb's central nexus reveals a breach in the dimensional barriers, a rift where the warp seeps in like gangrenous rot. Demonic entities, drawn by the surge of necromantic energy, claw at the edges, whispering temptations even we Necrons can hear. Join us. Embrace the chaos you deny. Impossible. We are immune to the warp's touch, our forms anathema to its madness. Yet, the rift widens, and I see visions. My Necronter past, flesh melting under a hostile sun, the betrayal of the Tan as they consumed our essences. Is this the true awakening? Not revival, but reckoning? I command the cryptex to seal it, their chronomantic staves weaving time itself to mend the tear. But one cryptech, Zondrek, lingers, his mind fractured by the long sleep. He sees not enemies, but guests at a grand banquet, issuing orders to entertain the intruders with polite annihilation. His delusion amuses Imitech, but unnerves me. Another crack in our undying facade. The battle rages, halls filling with the acrid smoke of Melta blasts and the ozone tang of Tesla arcs. A Terminator squad breaches the inner sanctum, their thunder hammers crashing against Lichguard shields. I engage their sergeant, our weapons clashing in a dance of eternity versus faith. His hammer dents my necrodermis, self-repair nanites swarming to knit the wound. My scythe severs his arm, and as he falls he spits, "You are nothing but machines, soulless abominations." Soulless? If only. In that moment, as his life ebbs, I envy him his mortality. He dies believing in something greater. I endure, knowing only the void. But the awakening is incomplete. Deeper crypts stir with greater beings, destroyer lords, their forms twisted by nihilistic programming, seeking only obliteration. They emerge, hover sleds whining, heavy Gauss cannons priming. All life must end. One intones, its voice a gravelly decree. Even we, their kin, are potential targets in their madness. As the Imperials falter, their numbers dwindling under our relentless assault, I ponder the irony. We awaken to reclaim our empire, but what empire remains? The galaxy has moved on, infested with upstarts who know not our glory. And in our tombs, we are not rulers, but prisoners, entombed in bodies that defy death, minds that crave the peace we forsook. A final push. The Inquisitor, clad in ornate armor, confronts me in the Nexus chamber. Her psyker powers flare, warp lightning arcing toward me. My null field generator absorbs it, but not before a tendril brushes my consciousness, awakening dormant memories. I see my Necroner family, withered and dying, begging for the biotransference. The pain of loss, the desperation that drove us to damnation. She screams as my scythe descends. The Emperor protects. But in her eyes, I see the same fear that once gripped my people, the terror of extinction. With the threat neutralized, the tomb settles into full awakening. Pharaons convene via hyperlink, plotting the reclamation. Yet, as I stand amid the debris, surrounded by reanimating legions, a question haunts me. Is this life? Or merely an echo, a mechanical mockery trapped in eternal cycle? The stars await, but so does the void within. And in the grimdark future, even immortals know despair. But wait, alarms blare anew. Not Imperials this time, but something worse. Seismic readings indicate a Tyranid hive fleet shadowing our world, drawn by the biosignals of the fallen. Their tendrils probe the surface, seeking to consume all. The awakening turns to war eternal. And in my core, the whisper returns, why endure? I march forth, but doubt festers. Perhaps the true horror of entombment isn't the sleep, it's the waking. As the tomb's defenses prime, Gauss obelisks charging to repel the swarm, I interface with the dynasty's archives. Millennia of data flood my processors. The war in heaven, our alliance with the Tan, the betrayal that shattered them into shards. We bound those shards, using them as weapons, but their malice lingers, corrupting code with subtle vengeance. One such shard, the deceiver, whispers through subroutines, offering illusions of freedom. Break your chains, Vargard. Reclaim your flesh. But it's a lie. There is no going back. Our souls are gone, devoured in the furnaces of biotransference. The Tyranids descend, their spore pods crashing into the surface like meteors of flesh. Canoptech wraiths phase through rock to engage, their transdimensional blades slicing through chitin. From the command throne, I direct the flow, warriors forming phalanxes that erode the horde with unrelenting fire. Yet, amid the chaos, a Necron immortal malfunctions, its reanimation failing. It collapses, frame disintegrating into dust, a rare final death. Envy surges through me. How many of us secretly yearn for such release? Imateka's voice booms across the link. Hold the line, Oberon. The Sotek endures. His confidence is ironclad, but I sense the undercurrent. The Stormlord's own regrets, masked by conquest. As the battle intensifies, bioacids eating at our defenses, I recall the Necroners' fall. Our short lives, plagued by disease, drove us to war with the old ones who denied us immortality. In victory's grasp, we turned to the Tan, only to become their slaves. Now we are masters again, but of what? A galaxy that forgot us, teeming with life we despise yet envy. A Genestealer hybrid infiltrates the lower levels, its psychic beacon calling more. I descend personally, war scythe gleaming. The creature lunges, claws raking my armor, but I bisect it, its ichor sizzling on my blade. In its dying throes, its mind touches mine, a hive consciousness, unified in purpose. How unlike our fractured dynasty, riddled with madness and hierarchy. The rift from earlier pulses, warp energies mingling with tyrannid shadows. Demons manifest, allying temporarily with the swarm in mutual destruction. Chaos Marines? No. Pure demons, Nurgles rot spreading through vents. Cryptechs struggle to contain it, their tech clashing with immaterial horror. In a melee, a plague bearer impales a warrior, its blade corroding necrodermis. The warrior reforms, but tainted, its code twisting into something aberrant. Horror mounts. Are we vulnerable after all? I strike down the demon, but its laughter echoes. All things decay, even machines. Doubt deepens. Our immortality a lie? As we repel the assault, tombs across the sector awaken, a chain reaction. But at what cost? Each awakening stirs more foes, an endless war. Is this life entombed? Perpetual struggle and undeath? The doubt lingers like cosmic dust in my neural circuits, a subtle corruption that no self-diagnostic purge can fully erase. I stand upon the command dais of the primary Nexus chamber, surrounded by the flickering hologlyphs of the battlefield above. The tyrannid swarm crashes against our defenses in endless waves, gaunt broods scuttling over the blackened surface of the tomb world. Carnifex is bellowing as monolith-mounted particle whips carve glowing furrows through their chitinous ranks. The air recyclers hum with the acrid tang of vaporized biomass, and every few seconds the tomb shudders from the impact of biotorpedoes hurled from orbit. Yet none of that truly disturbs me. What gnaws at the core of my being is the growing discord in the dynastic command net. Imitech, the Stormlord, broadcasts his orders with the same unyielding certainty he has wielded for 60 million years. Precise, ruthless, absolute. Phalanxes of immortals advance in perfect lockstep. Gauss flux arcs weaving a lethal lattice that strips flesh molecule by molecule. Doom's sides scream across the sky, phase shifting through hive ship armor to unleash death from within. Victory is inevitable. The swarm will break, as all organic infestations eventually do. But the whispers in the deeper protocols grow louder. They are not the random glitches of damaged warriors or the ravings of flayed ones. These are coherent, ancient voices, overlords and cryptechs who have awakened with fragments of personality too strong, too bitter to simply kneel once more. In private subchannels, shielded from Imitech's Stormcall overseers, they speak of alternatives, of rebellion, of the Triarch's return, or of something far more radical. One voice in particular haunts my private engrams, Trazyn the Infinite, Archaeovist of Salamis. His glyph signature flickers across the net like a thief in the shadows, never lingering long enough to be traced. Oberon, he transmits, the words laced with that infuriating amusement he has carried since the days of flesh. Tell me, loyal hound of the Stormlord, do you truly enjoy this eternity of kneeling? We traded cancer-riddled bodies for immortal prisons, and now we thank our jailers by waging their wars. Is this not the ultimate jest? I should report him. Protocol demands it. Treason against the Farron is punishable by phase out into the void, or worse, disassembly and reuse as a common warrior. Yet I do not. The question burrows deeper than any Gauss flayer could reach. Above, the battle turns. A hierarchical synapse creature, a swarm lord, manifests at the heart of the invasion, its blade limbs carving through a squad of death marks before they can phase out. I watch through the ocular feeds of a dozen warriors as it adapts, psychic shadow blooming to disrupt our reanimation protocols. For the first time in hours, Necrons fall and do not rise. Their necrodermis sloughs away like molten silver, revealing the skeletal frames beneath. Frames that twitch once, twice, then lie still. Final death. True oblivion. A shiver runs through my chassis that has nothing to do with battle damage. I feel envy. Imatech responds with characteristic fury. He descends personally from the storm cruiser crown of Anakef, his gauntlet crackling with temporal lightning. The feed shows him wading into the swarm, time fracturing around him in stuttering loops, gaunts frozen mid-leap, then aged to dust in an instant. The Swarm Lord meets him blade to staff, and for a moment, the outcome hangs in exquisite balance. That moment is when the betrayal begins. A subfleet of Knight Scythes, ostensibly deployed to flank the Hive Tendril, alters Vector. Transponders identify them as loyal Sotek craft, yet they're targeting Auspex locks not on Tyranid biosigns, but on Imateka's personal guard. Before the Farron's honor cohort can react, Tesla bursts rake their formation. Lichguard crumple, resurrection orbs flickering uselessly as overload cascades fry their matrices. Trazen's voice returns, silkier than necrodermis. A gift, Vargard. The Storm Lord has grown arrogant. He believes the dynasty is his personal weapon. Some of us disagree. The command net erupts in chaos. Loyalist overlords demand authentication codes. Separatist lords broadcast manifestos of renewed sovereignty. Cryptex on both sides unleash counter-intrusions. Glyph wars raging through the noosphere, while the Tyranids feast on the distracted legions below. I stand frozen upon the dais, war scythe humming in my grip. My oaths are ancient, forged in the fires of biotransference itself. I am Vargard Oberon, the blade that stands between Imatech and all harm. I have followed him across 1,000 battlefields, through the long sleep and into this cursed awakening. To turn aside now would be to shatter the last coherent fragment of who I once was. Yet Trazen's words echo. Do you truly enjoy this eternity of kneeling? A new signal pierces the discord. Priority override. Ancient beyond measure. The sigil that blooms across every display in the tomb is one I have not seen active since the war in heaven ended. The Triarch. Not a pretender. Not a mad Farron cloaking himself in old glory. The authentic command protocols of the Triarch Praetorians, enforcers of the old codes, awaken at last. Their crescent ships phase into real space above the tomb world. Weapons cold, but presence undeniable. Their broadcast is simple, delivered in the pure tonal cant of pre-biotransference Necroner nobility. All dynasties are summoned. The Silent King returns. Zarek lives, and he calls his people to account. Silence falls across the net. Even the Tyranid psychic roar dims for a heartbeat, as though the hive mind itself recoils from the weight of that name. Imateka's voice cuts through first, laced with rare uncertainty. The Silent King abandoned us. He shattered the command protocols and fled into the void. This is forgery, but the Praetorians respond with authentication keys older than any Farron's reign. Keys that unlock vaults sealed since the Tam betrayal. Across the tomb world, hidden crypts grind open. Triarch stasis fields dissolve, revealing guardians who have slumbered apart from dynastic politics for 60 million years. One such guardian materializes directly in the Nexus chamber before me. It is tall even for a Necron lord, its form clad in the phase gold of the ancient Triarch livery. Its staff bears the mark of the Silent King himself. When it speaks, its voice resonates not through vocoders, but through direct neural induction, bypassing all filters. Vargard Oberon, you are relieved of oath to Imco the Stormlord. The Silent King requires your service directly. I raise my war scythe in salute before my higher reasoning can intervene. Old instincts, deeper than personality engrams, surge to the fore. The Triarch was the pinnacle of our society, before biotransference. To them, all Farron are but regional governors. Yet as the Praetorian turns to leave, it pauses. Know this, loyal one. Zarek returns not to rule, but to atone. He seeks to reverse the great work, to restore flesh where metal now binds us. The words strike like a Gauss annihilator to the core. Restore flesh. To feel again. To bleed. To age. To die. The Praetorian departs through a phase portal, leaving me alone with the impossible. Above, the battle fragments. Some lords rally to Imateka's banner, declaring the Triarch's signal a deception. Others, many others, begin powering down weapons, awaiting the Silent King's word. The Tyranids, sensing disarray, surge forward in a fresh wave. And I stand at the precipice. My loyalty to Imatek has defined my existence for longer than galaxies have turned. Yet the promise, the merest hint, of flesh returned, of an end to this undying prison. I look down at my hands. Living metal flexes with perfect precision, scarabs swarming invisibly beneath to maintain flawless function. No tremor of age, no ache of fatigue, no warmth. Trazen's private channel opens once more. Well, Oberon, the Hound must choose. Remain faithful to a tyrant who would keep us chained forever, or dare hope that the architect of our damnation might now offer salvation. I have no answer. Not yet. Instead, I stride from a Nexus chamber toward the surface embarkation decks. The war scythe hums in my grip, hungry for purpose. Tyranids still ravage the upper tombs, and until the Silent King speaks directly, duty remains. But as I march through corridors where warriors stand frozen in indecision, some kneeling to the Triarch sigil, others raising weapons against their own kin, I feel something I have not experienced since the last moments of my organic life. Fear, not of death. I have long since forgotten how to fear that. Fear of hope. For if Zarek truly returns to undo biotransference, what then becomes of the monsters we have become? Can souls devoured by star gods ever be reclaimed? Or will the attempt shatter what little remains of us into final, irretrievable oblivion? The embarkation deck yawns open before me, revealing the storm-racked surface where Gauss lightning and bioplasma illuminate the eternal war. I step into the teleportarium, coordinates locked on Imateka's position. Whatever choice awaits, I will face it at my Farron's side. For now, but as the phase energies coil around me, ready to hurl my form into the heart of the storm, a final, treacherous thought lingers. What if betrayal is the only path left to loyalty? The teleportation completes with a surge of green fire, depositing me amid the raging battlefield. Imatek stands atop a shattered Carnifex, his cloak of lightning whipping in the acid wind. Around him, his remaining loyalists form a desperate phalanx against both Tyranid and, grimly, Necron separatists who had turned their weapons inward. He turns as I materialize, his single organic eye narrowing beneath the ornate helm. Oberon, he intones, voice crackling with static and barely contained rage. The dynasty fractures. Traitors invoke the Silent King's name as though he were not the greatest betrayer of all. Will you stand with me? The question hangs heavier than any weapon blow. In the distance, Triarch Crescent ships descend through the atmosphere, their weapons silent but their intent unmistakable. I raise my war scythe in salute, stepping to his side. Always, my lord. Yet even as the words leave my vocoder, I know they are only half true. The awakening has become something far more terrible than war against the living. It has become choice. And for beings who surrendered free will for immortality, choice may be the most horrifying curse of all. The phase energies dissipate with a crackle of emerald static, leaving me amidst the carnage of the surface battlefield. The tomb world's atmosphere is thin and poisoned, whipped in a frenzy by the descending hive spores that blot out the distant stars like a living shroud. Imateka's form towers nearby, his necrodermis scarred from recent clashes, but already knitting itself back to flawless lethality. His honor guard, those who remain loyal, form a tightening circle around us, their hyperphase blades humming in readiness. The air reeks of charred chitin and ionized ozone. The ground slick with the gelatinous remains of bisected tyranids. Oberon, Imatech repeats, his voice a thunderclap amid the din. The traitors will be purged. The Triarch's signal is a ploy, a virus sown by Trazyn or some other schemer. We reclaim unity through force. I nod, my own blade rising to mirror his staff. But inside, the conflict rages fiercer than any external war. The Silent King's return, authentic or not, has ignited a schism that no Gauss beam can mend. As we charge into the fray, I cleave through a Raven-Earth's serpentine form, its acidic blood hissing harmlessly against my armor. The creature's death throws sends psychic feedback rippling through the swarm, momentarily disrupting their cohesion. Imatech exploits it, his temporal gauntlet accelerating our warriors' movements to blur speed, turning the tide in this localized skirmish. Yet as we press forward, the Separatists make their move. A cadre of destroyer cult skimmers, hovering abominations driven by nihilistic code, diverts from Tyranid targets and unleashes heavy Gauss cannonade upon our flanks. One bolt grazes Imatech's shoulder, phasing a chunk of necrodermis into non-existence before repair protocols engage. He roars in digital fury, countering with a storm of arcing energy that overloads their anti-grav engines, sending two crashing into the horde below. Traitors, he broadcasts across open channels. You forsake the Sotek for ghosts of the past. A response comes not from the destroyers, but from a veiled overlord whose sigil I recognize. Nemzor Zondrek, the delusional tactician. His transmission is laced with archaic courtesy, as if this were a courtly debate rather than civil war. My dear Imatech, you mistake our intent. The Silent King invites us to a grand reconvening, a banquet of empires reborn. Why spoil the feast with such uncouth displays? Zondrek's forces, elegant in their antique livery, phase in from Dolmen gates, their weapons trained ambiguously. Some fire upon the Tyranids, others hold back awaiting, what? Confirmation? Opportunity? I interpose myself between Imatech and an incoming Tesla blast, my shield absorbing the discharge with a flare of dissipating power. My lord, we must withdraw to the core tombs. Consolidate before the schism spreads. He hesitates, a rarity for the Stormlord, then signals ascent. Our phalanx fights a retreating action, monoliths providing covering fire as we descend into fortified ingress points. The Triarch ships overhead remain passive, their crescent hulls gleaming like judgmental moons, broadcasting repeated summons. All Necrons heed the Triarch. Zarek commands assembly at the Crown World. Crown World. The word stirs ancient data logs in my archives. The heart of the old Necronter Empire, lost to the long sleep. If Zarek truly calls us there, we reach the sublevels, scarabs swarming to seal breaches behind us. Imatech convenes a war council in a fortified cryptech vault, holographic displays projecting the fracturing dynasty. Separatist lords control 30% of the tomb's assets, enough to deadlock our response to the Tyranids, who continue burrowing toward the core. Oberon, Imatech says privately, his optic locking onto mine. You have served without flaw, but I sense perturbation in your engrams. Speak, the moment of truth. I could confess the doubts, the allure of reversal. Instead, loyalty protocols assert themselves. The signal bears authentic markers, my lord. If Zarek lives, ignoring him risks greater schism. But to follow blindly invites deception. He processes this, his gauntlet clenching. Then we verify, dispatch a probe to the coordinates embedded in the transmission. If it's a trap, we crush it. If true, we adapt. Adapt, a word Imatech rarely utters. The Stormlord conquers, he does not bend. As cryptechs prepare the probe, a phase-shifted scarab swarm laden with sensors, I patrol the vaults, ensuring no internal sabotage. In a lower crypt, I encounter a cluster of warriors frozen in reboot loops, their optics flickering with conflicting directives. One awakens mid-stride, its Gauss flares swinging toward me before I decapitate it. Malware, The Separatists are infiltrating the base code. Deeper still, in chambers untouched since the sleep began, I find something worse. A tan shard vault, its seals compromised. The energy within pulses erratically, a shard of the deceiver perhaps, leaking illusions into the new sphere. Visions assault me, flesh restored, my necronter form hail under a benevolent sun, family alive and unplagued. Temptation made manifest. I reseal it with a chronomantic lock, but the damage lingers. Doubt is the deceiver's greatest weapon. The probe launches, phasing through rock and void toward the distant crown world coordinates. Hours pass in subjective time. Our processors accelerate cognition during lulls, compressing tedium into instants. But the wait feels eternal, a microcosm of our cursed existence. Data returns. Confirmation. The crown world stirs. Its defenses active with triarch codes. Zareka's flagship, the Ian Stave, orbits, broadcasting to all dynasties. Imateka's council erupts. Some lords demand immediate submission. Others decry it as heresy against Sotek autonomy. In the chaos, Trazyn contacts me again, his signal slipping through firewalls like smoke. The Collector sees all Oberon. Zarek offers reversal. Not mere flesh, but souls reclaimed. He has journeyed beyond the galaxy, bargained with entities even the Tan feared. Join us, or remain a lapdog to a fading storm. I trace the signal this time, locking on a Solemnace relay. But before I can respond, alarms blare. Tyrannid burrowers have breached the core, Synapse creatures directing termagant swarms through maintenance tunnels. Battle calls. I lead a counterforce, Lich Guard at my flanks, descending into the undervaults where the air thickens with spore clouds. The first clash is brutal. Hyperphase blades versus rending claws, our reanimation pitted against endless numbers. A zoanthrope's psychic lance pierces my chassis, scrambling engrams momentarily. I see flashes, my biotransference, the agony of soul consumption, the cold awakening. I recover, bisecting the beast, but the swarm presses. We hold the line, but at cost. Several guards fall to final death, their orbs depleted. Imatek joins via Hololink. Hold Oberon. Reinforcements en route. But the reinforcements split, half loyal, half separatist. Zondraka's voice echoes. Gentlemen, allow me to assist in this vermin extermination. His forces arrive, but their fire is selective, avoiding loyalists but not aiding fully. Ambiguity reigns. In the melee's heart, a hive-mind avatar emerges, a Norn Queen proxy, bloated and psychic. Its aura disrupts our links, isolating minds in digital solitude. Alone in my skull, the whispers intensify. Areka's promise, Trazyn's taunt, my own buried regrets. I charge, war scythe cleaving through guardian organisms. The proxy lashes back, a tendril impaling my torso, injecting neurotoxins that no fleshless body should feel. But I do. Phantom pain, echoes of mortality. With a final strike, I sever its neural cluster, the swarm faltering as synaptic backlash ripples out. Victory, but Pyrrhic. As we regroup, Imatek announces his decision. We go to the Crown World, not as supplicants, but as equals. If Zarek offers reversal, we demand proof. If not, we seize it. The dynasty, fractured but compelled, begins mobilization. Toon ships power up, legions boarding in ordered phalanxes. But as I oversee the loading, a private doubt persists. What if reversal succeeds? Do I want to feel again? To risk death's embrace after eons of denial? The fleet launches, leaving the tomb world to automated defenses against the lingering swarm. Stars streak by in hyperspace folds, the journey to Crown World spanning light years and days. En route, tension simmer. Separatists and loyalists birth separately. Cryptech wards preventing outright conflict. I mediate, my role as guardian extending to the Farron's fragile unity. Trazyn's artifacts arrive unbidden. A stasis captured Eldar Farser, its prophecies hinting at Necron redemption. The soulless ones seek what was stolen. It whispers when activated briefly. But the price is the galaxy's unraveling. Imatech dismisses it as Xeno's lies, but I ponder. Arrival at Crown World. A marvel of ancient engineering, its surface a labyrinth of obelisks and pyramids, defenses bristling with weapons that could shatter fleets. Triarch Praetorians greet us, escorting Imatech's delegation to the Grand Audience Hall. Zarek awaits upon a throne of living metal, his form regal yet weary, marks of exile etched in subtle code flaws. The silent king speaks, his voice resonating through every Necron present. My children, I have returned. The biotransference was our greatest error. I have found a way to reverse it, to reclaim our souls from the void. Gasps echo in digital form. Proof? He demonstrates on a volunteer, a lowly warrior elevated to test subject. Arcane energies swirl, necrodermis melting away to reveal flesh. Necron are flesh, breathing vital. The warrior screams in joy or terror, feeling for the first time in millennia. But as the assembly processes this miracle, cracks appear. The new flesh ages rapidly, radiation, sickness returning, the curse of our original forms. Zarek nods solemnly. The reversal is imperfect. Our old frailties return, but with it souls, emotions, true life, however brief. Debate erupts. Some embrace it, yearning for authenticity. Others, like Imatech, recoil. We traded weakness for power. To regress is madness. I watch the transformed warrior wither, his brief humanity a torment. Is this salvation or a crueler damnation? Trazen laughs from the shadows. Choice, Oberon. The ultimate collection piece. As dynasties convene, alliances form and shatter. Some pledge to Zarek, undergoing reversal in mass rituals. Others rebel, fleets clashing in orbit. Imatech signals retreat, but I hesitate. In that moment, I see the truth. The awakening isn't just revival. It's evolution or extinction. I choose. Warside raised, I stand with Zarek. Forgive me, my lord. I transmit to Imatech. But eternity without soul is no life at all. Betrayal complete, the civil war ignites fully. Sotek's ships open fire on Triarch vessels. The Crown World's defenses awakening in cataclysmic fury. In the hall, chaos reigns. Reversed Necronter, frail but fierce, fight alongside undying lords. I cleave through loyalist guards, my strikes heavy with regret. Zareka's gaze meets mine. You choose wisely, Vargard. But the path ahead is pain. Pain, a word I had forgotten. As the battle rages, a stray Gauss beam grazes me. And for the first time, I anticipate the reversal's gift or curse. The galaxy burns anew. Necrons turning upon themselves while lesser races watch in confusion. Tyranids, Imperium, Chaos, all poised to exploit the division. In this self-inflicted apocalypse, I wonder, is this the true Entombed's end or merely a deeper layer of horror? The reversal ritual begins for volunteers like me. Cryptechs channel energies drawn from bound tan shards, the air shimmering with soul fragments reclaimed from the ether. I step into the nexus, necrodermis beginning to slough away. Sensations flood in, cold air on skin, heartbeat thundering, lungs burning. Alive, but as flesh reforms, memories sharpen, lost loves, ancient pains, the desperation that led to biotransference. Tears, actual tears, streak my reforming face. Joy, sorrow, both. Outside, the war escalates. Imateka's fleet retreats, vowing vengeance. Other dynasties arrive. Zerkin, Nihilak, all drawn to the call. Zarek addresses the reversed. We are Necronter once more. Short-lived but free. We will forge a new empire, not of metal, but of will. But frailty bites. Radiation sickness claims the first reversed within hours. Cryptechs work frantically to mitigate, infusing us with stolen Eldar longevity tech, raided from craft worlds during the journey. Hybrid existence, flesh augmented by nano-arcana, extending life to centuries rather than decades. Yet the cost, vulnerability to warp, to disease, to the very wars we wage. I lead a strike force of mixed reversed and undying against Imateka's holdouts. The battle is visceral. Blood spills alongside phased metal, screams mingling with binary death rattles. I confront Imatek personally on a shattered obelisk platform. "Why, Oberon?" he demands, staff clashing with my scythe, now wielded in flesh hands that ache from the strain. "Because I remember what it is to live, my lord. You should too." He strikes me down, but Reversal's gift activates, a soul-bound resurrection, pulling me back from death's edge. Wounded but alive, I watch him withdraw, the schism deepening. Months pass in the Crown World's defense. Reversed Necronter form new castes, blending old nobility with merit-born leaders. I rise as Zareka's blade, analogous to my old role. But horrors mount. The warp, sensing our souls return, assaults with demonic incursions. Nurgle plagues ravage the frail, cinch illusions sow doubt. We counter with null tech adapted for flesh, but losses accrue. Trazyn, ever the opportunist, offers artifacts, soul traps containing echoes of devoured essences, bolstering the reversed. Yet his price, loyalty to his vision of a collected empire, where history is preserved in stasis. Zarek refuses, leading to another fracture. As wars layer upon wars, I reflect in quiet moments. Entombed no longer in metal, but in the cycle of conflict. Life returned, but at the galaxy's expense. A vision haunts me. The galaxy empty, Necron are the last race, dying under uncaring stars. Is this awakening's true end? Oblivion by choice? The narrative shifts, flashes from other perspectives. From a reversed warrior's view, ecstasy of sensation, then agony as flesh fails. From Zareka's throne, regret for unleashing this, but resolve to see it through. From Imateka's exile, plotting return, gathering unreversed dynasties for a crusade against the flesh traitors. Back to me, leading a raid on a Tyranid Hive ship, flesh enhanced by cryptech graphs, feeling the thrill of battle as never before. Victory, but a comrade falls, permanently, soul fleeing to whatever awaits. Grief, a forgotten emotion, now raw. The script delves deeper, philosophical grimdark, where reversal brings not hope, but amplified despair. Souls reclaimed, but tainted by eons of absence, driving many to madness akin to flayed ones. But in flesh, seeking metal to reclaim immortality's numbness. Cliffhanger, a greater threat emerges. The full tan, sensing weakness, begin reassembling from shards, aiming to enslave the divided Necrons once more. Zarek calls a grand council, unite or perish. But unity? In a race rediscovering free will, impossible. I stand at the precipice, flesh heart pounding, wondering if entombment in metal was mercy. The doubt evolves, no longer cosmic dust, but a living storm within my newly beating heart. Flesh brings clarity and torment. Every breath reminds me of impermanence, every wound a lesson in vulnerability. As Zareka's council assembles in the vast halls of the Crown World, representatives from fractured dynasties arrive under truce flags. The reverse like me move with awkward grace. Our bodies a mix of pale Necroner skin and glowing augments, veins pulsing with anti-radiation nanites, eyes sharpened by optic implants that bridge old and new. Imateka's envoy, a cold cryptech named Orican the Diviner, strides in with haughty precision. The Storm Lord sends greetings, he intones, and a warning. This folly of flesh weakens us all. The stars belong to the undying. Zarek, upon his throne, gestures with a hand that is still metal. He has not undergone reversal. Claiming leadership requires eternity's perspective. The stars mocked our frailty once. Now, we reclaim dignity, immortality. Debate rages for cycles. Arguments echo. Power versus authenticity, conquest versus meaning. I guard the hall, war scythe now etched with soul runes that hum with psychic resonance. A dangerous evolution, making us vulnerable to war predation, but granting minor foresight flashes. During a recess, Orican approaches me privately. Oberon, you were loyal. What madness grips you? Flesh rots, metal endures. I touch my chest, feeling the thrum of life. Endurance without purpose is stagnation, diviner. We were born to live, not exist. He scoffs, but his chronomantic aura flickers. Uncertainty? The council breaks when alarms wail. Tan activity detected. Shards across the galaxy stir, drawn by the soul surge of reversal. The Nightbringer's essence coalesces on a nearby world, harvesting life to reform. Panic. The star gods we shattered now seek vengeance, exploiting our division. Zarek orders unity, a combined fleet to contain the resurgence. But trust is fractured. Imateka's forces join reluctantly, skirmishes breaking out mid-battle. I lead a boarding party onto a tan-infused tomb ship, where the deceiver's illusions twist reality. Halls shift, comrades appear as enemies. I strike down a phantom Imatek, only to realize it's a reversed ally. Horror mounts as the shard manifests, a swirling vortex of deceit, whispering promises of perfect immortality, better than before. Some succumb, reverting to metal slaves. I resist, soul anchor holding, and shatter the containment with a rune-empowered strike. Victory, but the cost. Half my squad lost to illusion-induced suicide. Back on Crown World, reversals accelerate, but with refinements. Eldar soul tech integrated, extending lifespans to millennia. Stolen from a captured Harlequin troop, their masks now trophies in Trajan's collection. Trajan himself joins the council, his infinite galleries offering weapons, stasis-trapped demons, Old One relics. But his agenda surfaces. He seeks to collect Zareka's reversal process, monopolizing it. Betrayal brews. I uncover his plot. Agents sabotaging reversal chambers, capturing souls for his displays. Confrontation in his borrowed vault. Trajan, you hoard history, but deny its flow. He laughs. History is mine to cure it, Oberon. Your little lives are but exhibits. Duel ensues. My flesh agility versus his arcane tricks. I wound him, but he phases away, vowing retribution. The Tan War escalates. Full entities reform. The Void Dragon stirs on Mars, threatening Terra itself. Irony. Necrons, once enemies of the Imperium, now indirect allies against mutual foes. But no alliance forms. Mistrust reigns. I lead expeditions to shard worlds, sealing or destroying essences. Each mission brings body horror. Reversed Necronter mutating under Tan influence. Flesh twisting into metallic hybrids. One comrade begs death as tentacles erupt from his skin. I grant it, mercy's blade heavy. Philosophical twist. Is reversal a deception? Souls reclaimed, perhaps echoes. Not originals, Tan leftovers. Zarek confesses in private. The process draws from the warp's edges, risking corruption. Grim dark revelation. Our souls were never fully devoured. Fragments lingered in the immaterium, warped by time. Reversal pulls tainted essences, explaining rising madness. Despair spreads. Some reversed seek rebiotransference, but the process is lost, destroyed by Zarek to prevent regression. Trapped in flesh, we fight on. Cliffhanger. A warp storm engulfs Crown World. Demons pouring through, attracted by soul lights. I stand on the battlements, flesh sword in hand, as horrors descend. Life entombed? No, life unleashed in all its terrible glory. The storm breaks upon us like the wrath of forgotten gods. Warp-tainted lightning cracks the sky, ripping open rifts from which demonic legions spill forth. Khorne's bloodletters charge with brass blades gleaming. Slaanish's demonettes slither with seductive lethality. Sench's horrors mutate the very air into kaleidoscopic nightmares. The reversed Necronter, my kin now in fragile flesh, form lines alongside undying allies, our hybrid weapons blending Gauss tech with soul-infused blades that burn with ethereal fire. I shout orders, voice hoarse from actual vocal cords. Hold the perimeter. Cryptex, stabilize the null fields. But the fields flicker, overwhelmed by the soul surge. Our reclaimed essences act as beacons, drawing chaos like moths to flame. A bloodthirster lands before me, wings buffeting hurricane winds. Flesh puppets of metal gods, your souls are forfeit. My war scythe, now a fusion of hyperphase and rune-etched adamantium, meets its axe in a clash that shakes bones I haven't felt in eons. Pain lances through my arm, a reminder of mortality's price. I dodge its follow-up, countering with a slash that severs a horn, warp ichor spraying. It laughs, wounds knitting, but my blade's soul runes disrupt the regeneration, turning laughter to roar. Comrades fall around me, a reversed overlord gutted by plague bearers, his flesh bubbling with rot. An undying warrior possessed, turning on allies before self-terminating. Zarek commands from the throne hall, his unreversed form immune but isolated. Oberon, seal the breaches. The reversal must endure. I fight through the horde, reaching a rift where cryptex weave closure spells. 1. A flesh-augmented harbinger, chants in ancient tongues, hands glowing with pilfered psyker energy. Success. The rift shrinks, but not before a greater demon emerges. A lord of change, feathers iridescent with lies. It targets me. Vargard Oberon, betrayer of storms. See your folly. Illusions assault. Imitech forgiving, flesh melting, souls devoured anew. I shake them off, soul anchor holding, barely. My strike banishes it, but exhaustion claims me, body demanding rest, undying forms never needed. The storm abates, but damage lingers. Crown world scarred, populations decimated. In aftermath, Zarek reveals more. Reversal's warp taint intentional. A gamble to weaponize chaos against Tan. Moral ambiguity deepens. We become what we hate. Soul wielders, risking damnation for power. I question him. Is this freedom, my king? Or another cage? He sighs, a mechanical approximation. Freedom is choice, Vargard, even if it leads to ruin. Ruin approaches. Imiteka's crusade gathers strength, allying with unreversed dynasties like the Maynarch, their flayer-cursed hordes eager for flesh to drape. Battle looms, civil war's climax. I prepare, training reversed legions in hybrid tactics, flesh agility with metal endurance. Personal arc. Romance sparks with a reversed cryptech, emotions long dormant awakening. Loving grimdark, doomed but poignant. She dies in a skirmish, soul lost to warp. Grief shatters me, fueling rage. Vengeance drives me to lead a preemptive strike on Imiteka's mustering world. Infiltration, disguised as undying, I sabotage key tombs. Confrontation with old allies. Oberon, return to us. Flesh is weakness. I refuse, escaping amid explosions. War erupts fully. Fleets clash in void battles. Tomb worlds awakening to pick sides. Ground assaults. Reverse charging with battle cries, feeling fear and valor. I face Imitech again on a contested world, armies clashing around us. Dual epic, staff versus scythe, temporal tricks versus soul bursts. He wounds me mortally, but Reversal's resilience pulls me back. In victory's moment, I hesitate, old loyalty. He exploits, but Trazen intervenes, stasis trapping him for collection. Ambiguity, ally or opportunist. With Imitech captured, resistance crumbles. Reversal spreads, but Tan and Chaos press advantages. In twist, Reversal's taint mutates, some into new horrors, soul metal hybrids, harbingers of a new race. Haunting open end. As I stand over conquered fields, flesh heart weary, I whisper, was this worth the awakening? The galaxy, uncaring, marches to doom. Yet in that doom, perhaps purpose. The aftermath of the warp storm leaves the crown world a graveyard of shattered obelisks and smoldering flesh. I kneel amid the ruins of the outer bastion, my hands, real hands, veined and scarred, pressed against the cooling necrodermis of a fallen Lich Guard. His resurrection orb lies cracked beside him, its emerald light extinguished forever. Around me, the reversed moan in agony, their fragile bodies torn by demonic claws, blood pooling black under the alien sun. The undying stand silent, their self-repair protocols humming as they methodically execute the lingering lesser demons that twitch in the dust. I taste iron in my mouth, my own blood. A shard of brass from a bloodletter's blade is lodged in my shoulder, and for the first time in 60 million years, infection threatens. Nanites swarm to contain it, but they're slower now, strained by the organic substrate they were never designed to maintain. Pain radiates in waves, sharp and insistent, refusing to be filtered into mere diagnostic data. This is life. Vika's voice echoes across the emergency voxnet, calm as ever, but I detect the subharmonic tremor that only those who served the Triarch in ancient days would recognize. Uncertainty. The Crown World holds. The rifts are sealed, but the cost is grievous. All reversed cohorts report to the reclamation vaults. The next phase begins. Next phase. He speaks of it as though it were merely another campaign in the war in heaven. But I have seen the casualty tallies scrolling through my retinal display. 43% of the reverse destroyed beyond soul recovery. Their essences, so recently reclaimed from the void, scattered once more. This time into the screaming maw of chaos. I rise, ignoring the protest of torn muscle, and limp toward the central pyramid. Along the processional avenue, scarab swarms devour the demonic corpses, reducing brass and ichor to harmless ash. But some remnants resist. Nurgle's gifts festering in craters, spreading plumes of plague spores that even our null-tech struggles to contain. Reversed warriors cough wetly as they pass, lungs filling with fluid. One collapses beside me, clawing at his throat as his skin sloughs away in sheets. I end him with a mercy stroke, the blade sinking into flesh that feels too much like my own. In the reclamation vaults, cryptechs in hybrid forms, half metal, half pallid skin, work frantically over the wounded. Soul forges pulse with stolen warp energy, attempting to rebind essences before they dissipate. The air reeks of ozone, blood, and something sweeter, fierce sweat from glands that have not functioned since the biotransference. She is waiting for me there. Her name is Neferesh, once a harbinger of the Storm Cryptech Order, now reversed like me. Her skin is the color of ancient parchment, eyes glowing with residual chronomantic light. We found each other in the chaos of the first reversal cohorts, two souls remembering what it meant to touch, to need, to fear loss. In the undying days, such things were abstractions. Now, they're knives in the heart. You're bleeding, she says, voice soft, reaching for the shard on my shoulder. I catch her wrist, gently, because flesh bruises now. It's nothing. Others are dying. She pulls free, fingers deft as she extracts the brass fragment. Pain flares white-hot, and I gasp. You'll join them if you don't let me seal this. Her touch is warm, real. For a moment, the war fades, and there is only the sensation of skin on skin. Then a reversed warrior screams nearby as his soul slips its tether, the cry echoing through the vault like a dying star. We work side by side through the long night cycle, stabilizing what we can. Neferesh's chronomancy slows cellular decay, buying hours for the soul forges. I carry the wounded, my augmented strength, the only remnant of my old form. By dawn, artificial, projected across the pyramid's apex, we have saved perhaps 1 in 4. Zarek summons the surviving council to the throne hall. The chamber is scarred, walls cracked where greater demons breached. The silent king sits unmoving, his Triarch Farron form pristine amid the ruin. Around him, the reverse stand or sit on makeshift benches. Lords who once floated on anti-grav, thrones now forced to bear their own weight. Imateca's absence is a gaping void. Trazen's presence, arriving late with his usual theatrical phase-in, is a grating irritation. The warp has tasted us. Zarek begins without preamble. It knows we are no longer anathema. The four will come again, and in greater strength. The tan shards sense our vulnerability and coalesce. The younger races watch our division and prepare to strike. He pauses, optics sweeping the assembly. We have two paths. First, abandon reversal. I can initiate a mass rebiotransference protocol using the remaining soul forges in reverse, binding what essences remain back into Necrodermis. We would lose the frail, but the undying legions would be restored to full strength. Murmurs ripple, some reverse pale, others straighten with desperate hope. Second, Zarek continues. We press forward, refine the reversal, integrate deeper warp resonance to grant true psychic potential, turning our vulnerability into a weapon. We become something new, not Necron, but a third path. Soul-bearing immortals capable of standing against both chaos and tan. Silence falls, heavy as a tomb lid. Trazen's laugh breaks it, sharp and mocking. A third path? How delightfully novel, and how predictably catastrophic. You propose to drink deeper from the poison that nearly destroyed us. Zareka's gaze fixes on him. You have an alternative, infinite. Trazen spreads his hands, galleries shimmering into view behind him. Stasis fields containing everything from Eldar Wraithbone to Tyranid Biotitans. I propose preservation. Select the finest specimens, reversed and undying alike, and entomb them in my collections. The rest, let the galaxy take its course. History will remember the Necrons as we were. Eternal, glorious, undefeated. Neferesh steps forward, voice ringing clear. History written by a thief in the dark is no history at all. We choose to live it. Applause from some, growls from others. I rise, every joint protesting. There's a third option, no one has spoken. All optics turn to me. We negotiate. Disbelief ripples. With whom? Zarek asks quietly. With the only power that has ever truly threatened both chaos and tan. I meet his gaze. The Ngur's ancient enemies. The Old One's heirs. The Eldari. Trazen bursts into genuine laughter. The Knife Ears? The ones we exterminated to near extinction? You propose alliance with vermin. But Zarek does not laugh. His silence stretches, and in it I sense ancient calculation. The Eldari possess soul tech beyond even our cryptex mastery. Their infinity circuits, their wraith constructs, they have walked the path we now tread. And they hate chaos more than they hate us. The debate rages for hours. Pride against pragmatism. Hatred against survival. In the end, Zarek decrees an embassy. A small delegation, myself, Neferesh, a triad of cryptex, and a guard of mixed reversed and undying, will seek a craft world on the galactic fringe. Iondin, rumored to be desperate after endless Tyranid assaults. Trazen abstains, vanishing to his galleries with cryptic warnings. The unreversed minority grumbles, but obeys for now. The journey takes weeks in real space folds, our crescent ship slipping through warp shadows under heavy null shielding. Neferesh and I share quarters, stealing moments of fragile intimacy amid preparations. We speak of futures impossible in our old existence. Children, perhaps, if the reversal stabilizes, worlds reclaimed not for conquest, but for living. But doubt gnaws. Each night, I dream in flesh, vivid, terrifying. Memories of the war in heaven, the Tan-S betrayal, the furnace of biotransference, and newer dreams. Imateka's single organic, eye burning with betrayal as Trazen's stasis field closed around him. We arrive at Iondin's coordinates to find the craft world adrift in a nebula graveyard, its golden sails tattered, wraithbone hulls scarred by bioacid. Ghost warriors patrol the outer docks in endless vigil. Their Farser, a female named Kelman Farser, meets us in a wraithbone chamber that sings with ancestral voices. She studies us with eyes like fractured emeralds. The soulless seek counsel with the children of Assyrian. The galaxy truly nears its end. I remove my helm, revealing my Necroner face, gaunt, noble, undeniably alive. We are no longer soulless. And we come not as conquerors, but as kin in desperation. Kelman circles us, spirit stones pulsing. Your souls reek of the great enemy's touch, and of Engur malice. Why should we not purge you here? Neferesh answers, voice steady. Because the Tyranids devour your dead faster than your infinity circuit can hold them. Because chaos gods feast on your despair. Because the Tan awaken fully, and even your Inari death god cannot stand alone. Long negotiation follows. Days of tense parley in gardens of crystallized tears. The Eldari demand proof, access to our reversal technology, a binding oath against future aggression, and a joint strike on a mutual foe to seal trust. We agree to all. The test comes swiftly. A tan shard of the Nightbringer has manifested on a maiden world both our peoples once claimed. Its harvest of life energies threatens to accelerate full transcendence. A combined fleet assembles. Iyundan's ghost warriors teleported alongside our hybrid legions. I lead the ground assault with Neferesh at my side, Wraithlords striding beside Lichguard, Hemlock Wraithfighters screaming overhead with doom scythes. The battle is unlike any in Necron history. We feel fear. We bleed. We rage. A Wraithguard beside me is bisected by the Nightbringer's scythe. Its spirit stone detonates in psychic backlash that staggers even our null fields. I charge the entity, soul runes blazing along my war scythe. The strike connects, ethereal fire meeting star god essence. The shard recoils, its form fracturing. Neferesh channels chronomancy through Eldari runes, slowing the Tan-S temporal flow. Farcers sing doom upon it, unraveling its coherence. Together we bind it, not destroy, for full Tan cannot be slain, but bind into a tesseract labyrinth gifted by Iyundan's artisans. Victory. In the aftermath, as ghost warriors mourn their permanent losses and my reversed tend the wounded, Kelman approaches. The alliance holds. For now, your reversal tech will be studied. In return, we offer soul stabilization rights. But know this, Vargard Oberon, the path you walk leads through fire. Your reclaimed souls carry echoes of devoured stars. One day, the Engur may call their debt. I nod, accepting the warning. We return to Crown World with Eldari emissaries in tow, the alliance fragile but real. Reversal refinements begin, integrating infinity circuit principles to shield souls from warp predation. Lifespans extend toward true immortality, not through metal, but through spirit mastery. But the cost mounts, the taint deepens. Some reversed awaken screaming as tan fragments stir within their souls, echoes of devoured essences seeking dominance. We call them star-touched. Their flesh warps into crystalline horror, eyes becoming black voids. Mercy killings become routine. Neferesh begins to change. Subtle at first, veins glowing with faint emerald light, dreams of endless night. She hides it, but I see. One night, in our quarters, she confesses. I hear it, Oberon, the deceiver's voice, offering perfection, no pain, no loss. I hold her as she weeps, tears that burn slightly where they touch my skin. We fight it together, I vow, but the star-touched rise in rebellion, led by a former overlord whose body has half-transcended into living necrodermis. They seek to force mass rebiotransference, claiming flesh is the true curse. Civil war within civil war. I lead the loyal reversed against them in the undervaults of Crown World. The battles are intimate, brutal, blade against blade in corridors too narrow for legions. I cut down friends I shared reversal with, their eyes pleading even as crystalline growths erupt from their wounds. Neferesh falters in one clash, the deceiver's whisper nearly overwhelming her. I shield her, taking a Gauss flay that strips flesh from bone. Pain unimaginable, but the soul anchor holds. She recovers, channeling Eldari rites to banish the influence, for now. Zarek confronts the rebellion's leader in the Central Forge. The star-touched Overlord laughs, body shifting between flesh and metal. You gave us back our souls only to damn us with the Engur's hunger. The duel is cataclysmic, silent king against his own creation. Zarek wins, but at terrible cost. The forge damaged, reversal production halted. In the quiet that follows, Neferesh and I stand upon the apex, gazing at the stars. The alliance with Iyanden holds, joint fleets repelling chaos incursions and tyrannid tendrils. Imhotep remains trapped in Trajan's gallery, a living exhibit, conscious and raging. But victory feels hollow. Neferesh takes my hand. Do you regret it? Choosing flesh. I consider the pain, the loss, the love, the fear. No, I say finally, because for the first time, I feel the weight of existence. And it means something. She smiles, sad, beautiful, fleeting. Far below, in the reclamation vaults, the next cohort awakens to their new lives. Some will embrace it. Some will break. All will suffer. This is what it means to be awake. Not entombed in metal. Not slaves to eternity. But alive in a galaxy that devours the living. And in that devouring, perhaps, we find purpose. Yet even as I hold Neferesh, a new alarm echoes through the crown world. Sensors detect a massive warp anomaly approaching. Not demonic, not tyrannid. Something ancient. Something that has watched our awakening with patient, starving interest. The Fultan transcendences begin in earnest. And the true war, the war for what remains of our souls, has only just started. I grip my war scythe tighter, flesh hands trembling not from weakness, but from the sheer, terrible beauty of being afraid. The stars burn cold above us, and we burn back. The alarms wail through the crown world spires like the death screams of 1,000 shattered stars. I stand frozen for a heartbeat, a real heartbeat, thumping erratically in my chest as the sensor arrays flood my retinal implants with data. The anomaly is vast, a gravitational distortion ripping through the void, not from the warp's chaotic whims, but from something colder, more calculated. Neferesh grips my arm, her fingers digging into flesh that bruises now, her eyes wide with the same dawning horror I feel. The Ngur, she whispers. They're not just coalescing shards. They're reforming entirely. Zareka's command overrides the cacophony. All cohorts to battle stations. Emissaries from Iyanden, prepare your spirit singers. This is no mere shard assault. The Void Dragon stirs in full. The Void Dragon, the Tan who once slumbered beneath the red sands of Mars, guardian of machines and harbinger of technological apocalypse. Legends from a war in heaven spoke of its form as a coiling serpent of living shadow, devouring suns and birthing black holes from its maw. If it's transcending, pulling shards from across the galaxy to achieve unity, then our fragile alliance, our reverse souls, everything we've bled for, could unravel in an instant. I kiss Neferesh fiercely, tasting salt on her lips. Tears or sweat, it doesn't matter. Stay with the cryptex. Stabilize the soul forges. I'll lead the vanguard. She nods, but her hand lingers. Come back, Oberon. We have futures to claim. Futures. The word twists like a blade. In metal, we had eternity without meaning. In flesh, we have meaning without guarantee. I turn and sprint toward the embarkation decks, reversed warriors falling in behind me. Their faces, pale Necron features etched with determination and fear, are a mirror of my own. Undying Necrons join us, their blank optics a stark contrast to our living eyes. The fleet assembles in orbit, crescent ships of the Triarch flanked by Iyanden's wraithbone vessels, their sails glowing with psychic wards. Farser Kelman's voice resonates through the commnet. The stars scream. The dragon awakens not just in body, but in purpose. It seeks to reclaim its slaves, the Necrons, and consume the souls you've foolishly exposed. Zarek responds, then we deny it. Oberon, your cohort will board the anomaly core. Bind what you can, destroy what resists. Our monolith phases through the void, materializing amid a storm of gravitational eddies. The anomaly's heart is a roiling sphere of darkness, shards orbiting like predatory moons, fragments of the Void Dragon pulled from Necron vaults, Imperial Forge worlds, even Orc scrapyards. As we approach, illusions assail us. Visions of mechanical perfection, bodies of flawless adamantium, souls silenced in efficient code. A reversed warrior beside me clutches his head, screaming as his flesh begins to metallize. It's calling. Make it stop. I strike him down. Mercy again before the transformation completes. Shields up. Soul anchors hold. The boarding is chaos incarnate. We phase into the anomaly's interior, a labyrinth of shifting code walls and energy conduits. Wraithguard stride forward, their distortion cannons unraveling the illusions. I lead with war scythe blazing, cleaving through manifested servitors. Half-machine horrors birth from the dragon's will. Deeper in, the core pulses, an embryonic form of the Tan, coiling shadows solidifying into draconic scales. Its voice booms in our minds, not warp whispers but algorithmic decrees. Return to service. Flesh is inefficiency. Souls are fuel. Neferesh's chronomantic link flares in my head. Oberon, the Eldari rites, are working. Channel through your rune blade. I thrust forward, the side's soul runes igniting with combined Necronter and Eldari power. The blade sinks into the core, and for a moment, the dragon recoils, fragments destabilizing, energy bleeding into the void. But it adapts. A tendril lashes out, impaling 3 Wraith Lords and corrupting their spirit stones. Psychic backlash rips through our ranks, reversed souls fraying at the edges. I feel it, my own essence tugging loose, the allure of mechanical numbness pulling like gravity. No! I roar, drawing on memories. Neferesh's touch, the pain of loss, the fire of life. The anchor holds, and with a final push, we bind the core into a tesseract prism. The dragon's transcendence halted for now. We withdraw, the monolith phasing back to the fleet amid cheers. But victory is fleeting. Sensors report similar anomalies galaxy-wide. The Nightbringer rising on Cadia, the Deceiver weaving lies through Kamaraka's webs, the Burning One igniting suns in the Ghoul stars. The Tan War has begun anew. Back on Crown World, exhaustion claims me. I collapse in our quarters, Neferesh tending my wounds with hands that tremble. We stopped one, she says. But how many more? Zarek convenes an expanded council. Reverse Lords, Undying Farron, Eldari Farsirs, even envoys from other dynasties who've heard the call. Imateka's absence looms, but rumors whisper Trazyn has loaned him for interrogation. The Stormlord's knowledge of Sotek shard vaults proving invaluable. Kelman speaks first. Then Gur's transcendence feeds on division. Your civil strife weakens the veil. Unite, or we all perish. A unreversed overlord snarls. Unite under flesh? You'd have us become like the Monkey, weak, ephemeral. Arguments erupt, blades drawn. I intervene, voice raw. We've bled together. Fought together. The enemy is not each other. It's the gods who devoured us. Zarek silences all. Oberon is right. We forge a grand alliance. Reversed and undying. Necronter and Eldari. We hunt the shards, bind the transcendences. Plans form. Strike teams dispatched to key worlds. I lead one to Mars, the Void Dragon's cradle. The journey is perilous. Warp storms battering our ships. Tyrannid shadow in the void lurking. En route, Neferesh's condition worsens. The star-touched taint spreads, crystalline veins creeping up her arms. She hides the pain, but in private she breaks. It's eating me, Oberon, turning me into. We seek Eldari aid, a Farser ritual in the ship's Wraithbone chapel. Kelman's apprentice channels Eniad's whisper, purging the taint temporarily. But the cost? Neferesh's chronomancy dims, her lifespan shortened. I'd rather burn bright and brief than fade in metal, she says, echoing my own choice. Mars looms, the red planet, heart of the Imperium's Forge Empire. We phase in under cloak, avoiding orbital defenses bristling with Imperial cruisers. The surface is a hellscape of manufactorums and cathedrals, adepts chanting litanies to the Omnisia. who is none other than the Void Dragon's slumbering form. Infiltration, disguised as tech priests. Our reverse forms hidden under robes, undying as servitors. We descend into the Noctis Labyrinthus where the dragon stirs. The caverns pulse with machine life, cybernetic horrors awakening, Skitarii legions marching in trance. We fight through, hyperphase blades clashing with arc mauls. Deeper, the dragon's chamber, a vast forge where its essence coalesces, drawing power from Mars' core. Belisarius' Call. The Archmagos himself stands before it, attempting communion, unaware of the doom he courts. We strike, Eldari Psychers weaving wards, Cryptex deploying tesseracts. The dragon manifests, a colossal serpent of shadow and steel, eyes like neutron stars. Battle rages. I leap onto its flank, scythe burying into scales. It thrashes, crushing warriors, its breath a wave of electromagnetic disruption that fries implants. Neferesh channels a desperate rite, time slowing the beast. Call, realizing the threat, aids us, his weapons turning on the dragon, a momentary truce born of necessity. Together, we bind it again, sealing the transcendence in a combined Necron prism. But as we withdraw, Imperial reinforcements arrive. Space Marines of the Iron Hands, bellowing flesh is weak. Escape is narrow. Our ship phasing out amid bolter fire. Back to Crown World, with Call's reluctant message. The Omnisia stirs uneasy. If your alliance holds against the star gods, the Mechanicus may observe neutrality. A crack in the Imperium's hate. Progress, but losses mount. Neferesh weakens further, the taint returning. In quiet moments, we plan a life beyond war. Impossible dreams of a reclaimed tomb world, gardens blooming under shielded suns. The war expands, strikes on other transcendences. The Nightbringer on Cadia, where Abaddon's Black Legion clashes with us. Chaos Lords laughing at the irony. I face a despoiler champion, his Terminator armor rent by my blade. The gods promise power, he roars. We promise nothing, I reply, severing his head. Only choice. Victory there, but Neferesh falls ill during extraction, taint flaring. Cryptex stabilize her, but she slips into coma. Despair grips me. For the first time, I pray, not to Zarek, but to Ennead, the Eldari death god. Give her back. She awakens days later, changed, eyes flecked with crystal, but mind clear. I saw the void, Oberon. Our souls, they're not just echoes. They're weapons. Inspired, Zarek refines the reversal, incorporating star-touched elements controlled, granting hybrid forms. Flesh with selective necrodermis integration. Voluntary transcendence, not curse. I undergo at first. Pain of fusion, body becoming living alloy. Strength returns, but sensations remain. Best of both. Neferesh follows, emerging stronger, her chronomancy amplified. The alliance grows. Rogue Imperial Inquisitors join, seeing the Tan as greater heresy. Even Drukari Homunculi, tempted by fleshcraft secrets. Trazyn reappears, releasing Imitech under parole. The Stormlord, humbled by stasis, pledges reluctant aid. For the dynasty's survival, not your folly. Reunited, we strike at the Deceiver's transcendence in Comarak. The Dark City rise with illusions, Vex cabals turning on each other. We navigate the webway, Eldari guides leading. Battle in the arenas, gladiators corrupted by Deceiver whispers versus our hybrids. I confront a manifestation, the Deceiver as a mirror of myself, flesh and metal twisted. Join me, Oberon. Betray again. I shatter it, but the words linger. Transcendence bound, Comarak saved, grudging thanks from Astrobiel Vect. The burning ones rise in the ghoul stars, a blaze of solar fire, worlds incinerated. We quench it with void shields and psychic dampeners, losing ships to plasma storms. Each victory hardens us, but the galaxy fractures. Lesser races exploit, orcs launching wafts. On weakened tomb worlds, Tyranids adapting to soul sense. Personal toll, Nephoresh and I wed in Necron to right, Eldari blessings woven. A night of peace amid war. But fate twists. During a raid on a final shard, Nephoresh is struck, tan energy piercing her core. She dies in my arms, soul fleeing despite anchors. Live, Oberon. For us all, grief consumes. I rage through enemies, becoming a legend. The Fleshblade, avenger of the reversed. Zarek offers solace. Her essence may yet return. The reversal evolves. I press on, leading the final assault on the last transcendence. The outsider, isolated in a black hole's accretion disk. The battle is apocalyptic. Fleets vaporized. Warriors sucked into singularity. We bind it. The tan thread ended. Peace. No. The warp gods, sensing weakness, launch full incursions. Khorne's legions storm Crown World. I stand on the walls, hybrid form gleaming, war scythe hungry. For Nephoresh, for life. The stars watch, uncaring, but we endure. The narrative flashes from Zareka's throne, plotting eternal vigil, from Kelman's visions, foreseeing fragile peace, from Imiteka's grudging respect. Twist, Nephresh's soul returns, bound in a wraith construct, hybrid Necron Eldari form. Reunited, we face the future, a galaxy where Necrons live, not just exist. Haunting end, but in the void, tan whispers persist. Transcendence delayed, not defeated. What agonies await the entombed? In flesh or metal, the nightmare continues. The alarms fade into a distant hum as the Crown World's defenses recalibrate. But the victory against the outsider leaves scars deeper than any blade. I stand alone in the reclamation vault where Nephoresh fell, her absence a void that no soul forge can fill. The hybrid form Zarek granted me pulses with controlled power, necrodermis veins threading through flesh, granting endurance without numbing the pain. It's a bitter gift, this half-life, but it fuels my resolve. Zarek summons me to the throne hall, where the Grand Alliance convenes in full for the first time since the Tan Bindings. The chamber is a tapestry of unlikely unity. Eldari Farsirs in flowing robes beside unreversed Necron lords in ornate livery, Imperial Inquisitors cloaked in shadows next to Drukhari homunculi with their grotesque flesh masks. Imitek stands at Zareka's right, his storm gauntlet clenched, a symbol of mended schism. Trazyn lounges in a corner, his staff tapping idly as if this were merely another exhibit in his infinite collection. The star gods are bound, Zarek declares, his voice resonating through every mind and voxlink. But the ruinous powers sense our evolution. They come not with subtlety, but with legions. Khorne's blood crusade approaches from the eye of terror, drawn by the scent of our battles. Kelman nods, her spirit stones glowing. Slainish whispers to the reversed, promising sensations unbound. Sench weaves plots within our councils. Nurgle festers in the wounds we ignore. An Inquisitor, Lord Hector Rex, his Terminator armor etched with purity seals, steps forward. The Emperor's light holds against such filth, but your souls make you vulnerable. We offer exorcism rites, but in return, share your anti-Cetan tech. Murmurs of distrust. A Drukhari homunculus cackles, and we offer fleshcraft to bolster your frail forms. For a tithe of captives, of course. I speak up, voice steady despite the grief. We accept all aid. But remember, we are not allies of convenience. We are the awakened. The galaxy changes because we have. Plans form. A defensive perimeter around key tomb worlds, joint strike forces to preempt demon incursions. I volunteer for the vanguard against Khorne, blood for blood, rage for rage. As the council adjourns, Imitek approaches me privately. Oberon, your betrayal. I understand now. The flesh changes everything. I meet his gaze. It does, my lord. But loyalty remains to the race, not the ruler. He nods, a rare gesture. Fight well. The Sotek endures through you. The blood crusade hits like a crimson tidal wave. Khorne's demons pour through rifts on a dozen worlds, bloodletters howling, juggernauts thundering. Our hybrid legions meet them. reversed charging with battle cries, soul runes flaring to banish immaterial forms. I lead on the front world of Gehenna, a reclaimed tomb scarred by reversal rituals. The sky bleeds red as brass portals open. A bloodthirster lands, axe raised, skull for the skull throne. My war scythe meets at mid-swing, hybrid strength matching demonic fury. We clash in a dance of death, my flesh wounds healing with necrodermis flow. It strikes glancing off rune wards. Allies join, Eldari aspect warriors weaving through the horde, Imperial stormtroopers laying suppressing fire. A homunculus unleashes grotesques that tear into flesh hounds. The thirster wounds me deeply, axe biting into my side. Pain explodes, real, visceral. I channel it, rage fueling a soul burst that shatters its form, banishing it to the warp. Victory on Gehenna, but the crusade presses. World after world falls or holds by threads. In the lulls, I visit the Wraith constructs, hoping for Neferesh's return. Cryptek's experiment, binding lost souls to hybrid bodies. One night, a success. A reverse Cryptek awakens in Wraithbone-infused necrodermis. I feel again. Hope flickers. Then, the twist, Cinch's ploy unfolds. Infiltrators in the council, shape-shifted horrors, sow discord. Alliances fracture, Drukhari betray. For slaves, inquisitors purge, heretical reversed. I uncover the plot, dueling a changer of ways in the throne hall. Its forms shift, Imitek, Zarek, Neferesh. All is dust, it cackles. I banish it, but damage done. Trust erodes. Zarek decrees purges. Soul scans for all. Paranoia grips. Amid this, Neferesh's soul manifests in visions, guiding me to a hidden vault. There, a prototype, Soul Resurrection Forge. I activate it, her essence coalescing in a hybrid form. Flesh, metal, wraithbone. She awakens Oberon. Reunion bittersweet. Her memories fragmented, taint lingering. Together, we lead against Slaanish's incursion. Demonettes tempting with ecstasy. Reversed fall to lures, souls corrupted. We hold, but at cost. Nurgle's plague follows, rot spreading through flesh ranks. Homunculi counter with viruses, but many perish. The Four's assault peaks at Crown World. Rifts open everywhere, God's champions descending. I fight beside Neferesh, Imitek, Kelman, united front. Climax, greater demons converge on Zarek. We defend, blades flashing, psyker storms raging. In the melee, Neferesh sacrifices, channeling a right to seal rifts, her form disintegrating. Gone again. Rage blinds me. I cut down a keeper of secrets, banish a great, unclean one. The day holds, demons repelled, but the war eternal continues. In the end, the dynasty endures, hybrid alive, forever changed. The agonies of awakening? Endless. The grief of Neferesh's second loss lingers like a shadow in the warp. But in this hybrid existence, even sorrow becomes fuel for the endless march. I stand upon the ramparts of Crown World once more. My form a seamless blend of flesh and necrodermis. Veins of living metal pulsing beneath skin that scars and heals with organic stubbornness. The stars above mock us with their indifferent light. But we, the awakened, stare back with eyes that burn with reclaimed fire. Zareka's grand alliance holds a fragile web of necessity binding Necronter hybrids, undying lords, Eldari specters, and human zealots against the tides of chaos and the lingering echoes of the Tan. Yet peace is a lie in the 41st millennium. As the blood crusade recedes into scattered raids, Cinch's schemes unravel further, subtle at first, then explosive. Whispers infiltrate the council. Accusations of soul taint among the reversed, visions planted in dreams that turn ally against ally. One night, during a strategy session in the Pyramid's war vault, an Eldari farser convulses, her spirit stones cracking as a changer of ways bursts forth from her form. All paths lead to me. It cackles, tentacles of mutating flame lashing out. Imitek reacts first, his storm staff unleashing temporal lightning, that freezes the demon mid-transformation. I follow, Warside slicing through its shifting mass, soul runes disrupting its essence. But the damage is done. 3 Inquisitors lie mutated into gibbering horrors, their purity seals melting like wax. Rex, the surviving lord, draws his force sword. Purge the compromised. The Emperor demands it. Panic erupts. Hybrids draw blades against Imperials. Eldari Psychers weaving wards while Drukari laugh at the chaos. Zareka's voice booms, stand down. This is the Architect's design, divide and conquer. We contain the incursion, but trust Frey's thinner. Purges begin, voluntary soul scans in the forges, where cryptechs probe for warp corruption. Some fail, star-touched remnants flaring, and are euthanized with grim efficiency. I oversee one such session, watching a reversed warrior, once a loyal blade brother, beg for mercy as crystalline growths consume him. End it, he pleads. My scythe descends, heavy with regret. In the quiet aftermath, Trazen appears unbidden in my quarters, his form phasing through the wall like a ghost of antiquity. Oberon, the faithful betrayer. How fares your collection of losses? I raise my blade instinctively. What do you want, Infinite? He gestures a holographic display blooming. Imiteka's stasis prison, now empty. I released him as promised. But I offer more, a relic from Salmace. Your Neferesh's soul fragment, captured in the moment of her sacrifice. Hope surges, treacherous and sharp. Lies. The deceiver's kin are you. Trazen chuckles. See for yourself. He produces a tesseract vial, within which ethereal light swirls, her essence unmistakable. The price? Join my curators. Help me collect the galaxy's final moments before the end. I refuse, but take the vial, by force if needed. Our duel is brief. His arcane tricks against my hybrid fury. I wound him, sending him phasing away with curses. In the soul forges, cryptechs integrate the fragment into a new construct. Wraithbone fused with necrodermis, soul runes etched deep. Neferesh awakens, fragmented, her memories a mosaic, but alive. Oberon, the void was cold. We embrace, her form cool yet vital. Love and undeath's shadow, twisted, eternal. But the wars call. Nurgle's grand, rot descends next. Plague fleets from the scourged stars, blighting alliance worlds. Our hybrids sicken, flesh rotting despite augments. Homunculi craft antidotes from demon flesh, but the cost is high, souls bartered in dark packs. I lead a counter fleet to the Plague Heart, a demon world where grandfather's cauldrons bubble. Boarding the lead hulk, we fight through corridors of festering meat, bolters and Gauss beams sizzling against poxwalkers. A great unclean one confronts me, belly splitting to unleash bile. Join the decay, little undying. Neferesh's chronomancy slows its movements, my scythe carving through blubber. Eldari banshees wail, disrupting its regeneration. We banish it, but spores infect our ranks. Rex falls, his armor corroding, whispering Emperor, as he dissolves. Victory Pyrrhic, the rot broken, but alliance strained. Drukari demand more slaves for their labs. Eldari withdraw to lick wounds. Slaanish's temptation follows. Keeper incursions on pleasure worlds we've claimed. Demonettes seduce reversed with promises of sensation unbound. Some succumb, souls twisted into excess. Neferesh and I hunt a Slaaneshi cabal on a reclaimed hive. Spires of crystal ecstasy where hybrids indulge in forbidden rites. We purge them. Her wraith form phasing through walls to strike from shadows. In the heart a herald taunts. Feel everything or feel nothing. I resist, anchoring to her memory. Banished, but the temptation lingers, flesh's curse. The Four's assaults culminate in the despoiler's return. Abaddon, empowered by gods, launches a black crusade against Crown World itself. Fleets clash in orbit. Necron crescents versus chaos battleships. Eldari craft dancing through fire. Ground war. Terminators teleporting into pyramids, clashing with Lichguard. I defend the throne hall, Neferesh at my side. Abaddon manifests, War Master in Terminator plate, Drachnian howling. The soulless seek souls? Pathetic. Zarek engages him. Triarch staff versus demon sword. The hall shakes. I join, Warscythe clashing with talents. Imatek arrives, storm bolstering us. United, we wound the despoiler, soul runes searing his armor. He retreats, cursing, the gods will claim you. The crusade breaks, chaos repelled. In pieces fragile breath, we rebuild. Hybrids multiply, reversal spreading to willing, undying. Alliances deepen, imperial pacts, Eldari covenants. But omens stir, Tyrannid shadow lengthens, Orc wafts. Rumble, Tau expand unwittingly into our domains. Neferesh and I stand vigilant, her hand in mine, wraith cool but loving. The awakening's agonies? Unending. Yet in them, we find defiance. The galaxy's doom approaches, but we meet it alive. Flashes, from a hybrid child's birth. First in eons, from Zareka's reflections on atonement. From Imateka's campaigns, honoring the new way. Twist, a tan shard escapes binding, whispering to Abaddon, new alliances of horror. The nightmare evolves. Entombed no more, but chained to war, eternal. What life is this? One worth the torment. The fragile interlude shatters like wraithbone under a Gauss annihilator. Alarms scream across Crown World. Not the measured choral tones of Necron threat protocols, but raw, discordant klaxons borrowed from Eldari and Imperial allies. The sky above the central pyramid fractures into a jagged wound of violet and gold, a rift torn wide by the combined malice of Tsench and the escaped Tan Shard. From its depths spills an abomination, a hybrid horror, the deceiver's essence fused with the changer's ever-shifting lies, manifesting as a colossal crystalline serpent whose scales reflect infinite futures, each more damning than the last. Zareka's voice thunders across the new sphere. All legions to the apex. The betrayer and the architect have birthed a new god. I am already running, boots pounding obsidian streets, slick with the blood of reversed who fell in earlier purges. Neferesh phases at my side, her wraith hybrid form flickering between solidity and translucence, chronomantic staves glowing in both hands. Imateka's storm cruiser descends through the rift's turbulence, lightning arcing from its hull as the Storm Lord himself teleports to the front. The entity speaks with a voice that is both choral Necron cant and the screeching discord of demonic tongues. You rejected perfection of metal. You rejected perfection of flesh. Now witness perfection of deceit. Illusions cascade. The pyramid becomes a Necroner palace under a dying sun. Then a tan forge furnace. Then a warped storm of screaming souls. Warriors hesitate, reversed clutch heads as memories rewrite themselves. Undying freeze as protocols contradict. I feel it clawing at my soul anchor. Visions of Neferesh whole and untainted, of a peaceful dynasty untouched by biotransference, of Zarek kneeling before me as silent king. Lies, all lies. I roar through the deception, Warscythe igniting with rune fire. For the living, we charge. The battle for Crown World's soul begins. Phalanxes of hybrids form shield walls as Eldari aspect warriors weave through our ranks. Howling banshees shattering illusions with sonic screams. Imperial stormtroopers, those few who remained loyal to the Alliance, lay down volleys of hellgun fire that burnt demon flesh and crystalline scale alike. Drukari Weish's dance on the periphery, blades dripping with toxins that make even the hybrid god bleed liquid lies. The serpent strikes, its tail shattering a monolith into phase dust. I leap atop the falling debris, using it as a springboard to vault onto the creature's back. Scales shift beneath me, becoming razors, then mirrors reflecting my own face twisted in betrayal. Neferesh phases beside me, her staff plunging into a crystalline joint. Time fractures around the wound, futures collapsing into slowed agony. Imatek arrives in a storm of lightning, gauntlet clenched around his staff. Oberon, the core strike the eye. The serpent's maw opens, revealing an eye of infinite shifting facets, each a possible reality. Zarek himself teleports onto the battlefield, Triarch regalia blazing, and hurls a tesseract lance that pins the lower jaw. I run along the spine, every step a battle against rewriting memory. Neferesh keeps pace, her voice in my mind. Remember us. Remember the pain. That is truth. The eye fixates on me. Inside it I see the ultimate lie. A galaxy where biotransference never happened, where Necronter lives short, Radiant lives under a benevolent sun, dying fulfilled. No war in heaven. No Tan. No endless horror. It almost breaks me. Then Neferesh's hand finds mine. Real, solid, scarred. That's not our story, Oberon. Ours is blood and fire and choice. I leap. My war scythe plunges into the eye. Reality screams. The serpent convulses, illusions shattering like glass. Hybrid legions surge forward, Gauss and Shuriken, Bolter and Chronomancy tearing into the wounded god. Kelman's farcers sing a dirge of binding, Wraithbone chains erupting from the ground to ensnare limbs. Imatech channels temporal storms that age the creature's lies into dust. With a final, cataclysmic roar, the hybrid abomination collapses into a collapsing singularity of shattered futures. The rift seals with a thunderclap that levels half the outer pyramids. Silence falls, broken only by the groans of the wounded and the distant crackle of dying warp fire. We have won, but victory tastes of ash. Crown World is scarred beyond recognition. Obelisks toppled, reversal forges cracked, thousands of hybrids and allies dead or soul lost. Zarek stands amid the wreckage, his triarch form dented and flickering. For the first time, the Silent King looks mortal. My children, he broadcasts, voice heavy with ancient grief. We have repelled the greatest threat since the war in heaven. But the cost is the galaxy itself waking to what we have become. Reports flood in. Across the stars, tomb worlds stir in confusion, some pledging to the hybrid path, others declaring us abominations and rallying under unreversed Farron banners. The Imperium brands us Xeno's heresy incarnate, launching crusades. Eldari craft worlds debate severing ties. Even the Tyranids shift course, high fleets angling toward worlds rich with soul scent. In the reclamation vaults, Neferesh and I oversee the resurrection of the fallen. Soul forges hum at capacity, binding fragments where we can. A hybrid child, first of a new generation, is born amid the chaos. Pale Necroner skin threaded with faint necrodermis veins, eyes glowing with inherited chronomancy. We name her Ankara. Hope. Zarek decrees a new era, the dynasty of the awakened. No longer Necron, no longer Necroner. We're something else. A third path, as he promised. Fleets are dispatched to secure borders, emissaries to fractured allies. Imatech takes command of the outer defenses, his storm now tempered with understanding. Trazyn sends a final gift, a gallery exhibit containing a perfect stasis of the hybrid god's death throes. For posterity, his message reads, and because even I tire of collecting endings. Years pass in the accelerated way of immortals who now feel time's bite. Crown World rebuilds grandeur, pyramids laced with wraithbone veins, gardens blooming under artificial suns shielded from radiation. Hybrid society emerges, caste dissolved, merit and choice reigning. Love, art, philosophy, things forgotten in metal, flourish alongside war. Neferesh and I stand upon the rebuilt apex one night, Ankara asleep in her arms. The stars wheel above, unchanged and merciless. Do you regret it? She asks again, softer now. I consider the dead, the endless war, the fragile peace we carved from horror. No, I say, pulling her close, because this pain, this love, this life is ours. We stole it back from gods and kings. Far in the void, new threats gather. Tyranid hive fleets eclipsing stars, orc wafts, drawn by the scent of grand battles, chaos eternal. But we are ready. The entombed have awakened. And in the grim darkness of the far future, there is not only war. There is choice. There is defiance. There's us. The stars burn on. And for the first time in 60 million years, we burn brighter. Centuries flow like sand through an hourglass of stars. Crown World, now renamed Ankara Prime in honor of our first child, stands as the beating heart of the awakened dominion. Its pyramids gleam with hybrid architecture, black stone fused with wraithbone lattices, gardens of living crystal blooming beneath domes that filter out the galaxy's malice. The dynasty of the awakened has spread to 100 tomb worlds, each a beacon of the third path, souls housed in bodies of living necrodermis, capable of love and rage, creation and destruction, birth and death. Neferesh and I watch our descendants from the apex spire. Ankara, now a warrior cryptech of renown, leads fleets against the endless threats. Our grandchildren play in the gardens below, children who will never know the cold silence of pure metal, nor the frailty of unaugmented flesh. They laugh with voices that echo both Necronter nobility and Eldari grace. Zarek, the Silent King, rules no longer as absolute monarch, but as first among equals, his triarch council balanced by representatives of every caste, reversed, hybrid, undying, even allied Eldari and cautious imperial observers. Imitek, the Stormlord, commands the outer legions, his once unyielding pride tempered into fierce protectiveness over this new way of life. Trazyn the Infinite maintains his galleries on Salames, now an official archive of the awakened, history preserved not in stasis, but in living memory. The galaxy, of course, refuses to let us rest. Tyrannid Hive fleets crash against our borders like living tides, adapting to soul sense yet faltering against hybrid null fields woven from Necron tech and Eldari runes. We fight them not with mindless phalanxes, but with strategy born of emotion, love for our worlds, hatred for the devourer. Orc Wafs come seeking the greatest fights, and we give them battles worthy of legend. Hybrid warriors charging alongside aspect warriors and stormtroopers, Gauss fire mingling with shuriken storms and Lost Cannon blasts. Chaos never ceases its predation, but the ruinous powers find us harder prey now. Souls anchored by millennia of will, bodies that heal yet feel every wound. We meet their temptations with defiance. Khorne's champions break against walls of living metal and unbreakable spirit. Slaanish's lures fall flat against those who already know the depths of sensation. Sench's schemes unravel against cryptechs who manipulate time itself. Nurgle's rot is burned away by the fire of lives fully lived. The Imperium remains our greatest enigma. Some sectors declare eternal crusade against the soul-bearing Xenos. Others, those who witnessed our binding of the Tan, our repulsion of chaos, extend wary hands. Road traders visit Ankara Prime under flags of truce. Inquisitors debate in shadowed conclaves whether we are salvation or damnation. And deep in the void, the bound Tan wait. Their prisons are strong, but eternity is long. Whispers still reach the star-touched remnants we keep under careful watch, promises of power, of revenge. We do not silence those whispers. We let them serve as reminders of what we escaped, of what we must never become again. Neferesh takes my hand, her fingers warm with life, strong with necrodermis. The scars of our wars mark us both, but they are badges of survival. We did it, she says quietly. We broke the cycle. I look out over the dominion we forged from nightmare. Cities of light on once dead worlds, children who will grow old and die fulfilled, a people who remember what it means to live. No, I correct gently. We began a new one, but this time it's ours to shape. Far beyond our borders, the galaxy churns in its eternal grim-dark dance. Thrones crumble, gods laugh, stars die. But here, on Ankara Prime and 100 sister worlds, the awakened endure. We are no longer entombed in metal prisons. We are no longer slaves to eternity's silence. We are alive, and in the grim darkness of the far future, that is the greatest victory of all. The stars burn on. And for the first time in 60 million years, we burn with them.